Have you heard of the leader of the Eternals, Ikaris? If not, stay tuned to find out more. Hey there comic fam, welcome back to Climbing Comics. In today's session we'll be going over the first appearance of Ikaris of the Eternals. With a lot of news coming out recently because of the movie coming out later this year, I wanted to go over one of the characters of the Eternals. There are a ton of characters and there's a star-studded cast with the movie that's coming out this year, from Richard Madden playing Ikaris himself, Kit Harington, Angelina Jolie, Gemma Chan, Kumail Nanjiani, and so many other people. I think it'd be quite a bit to go over all of the characters in this one video. So I wanted to take a focus on the leader of the Eternals, Ikaris. Ikaris' first appearance was in Eternals #1, coming out in July of 1976. Both art as well as storyline were from Jack King Kirby himself. Jack King Kirby is mostly known for his art and Stan kind of driving the storyline, but this is one of his creations where he took on both parts of this whole book. So without further ado, let's dive in. Is man alone in the universe? Every myth and legend to emerge from the distant past points to a strange visitation from the stars. Beings of great power have been on this earth and then departed. Who were they? What did they do here? Where have they gone? These awesome questions create the background for this exciting new saga of a day which lies ahead. The day of answers, the day of gods. You see these three explorers. You found it, Ike. You're positively uncanny. They are beneath the high plains of the Andes. We have three characters here. Ikaris, Dr. Damien, and Margot, his daughter. They stumble upon this huge stone creation that looks like a spaceship. The next page is an extremely awesome page from Jack King Kirby also, where you see this artifact, which brings revelation to the visit from the stars. Outer space technology translated in terms of mythology. This looks like a 3-passenger descent vehicle. They're all in awe. Dr. Damien asks Margot for the tape recorder because he's about to say something that'll electrify the scientific community. Margot says, "Thanks to Ike, we may have found the greatest archaeological find in history." Ike responds, "Perhaps the true story of all which has gone before." Dr. Damien's a little bit wary about his comments, saying, "Ike, that's a lot of territory there, covering all of human history. Are you serious about this claim you just made?" Ike responds, "I refer not only to human history, but also to divergent human history, where there were others." So he's making claims essentially that Homo sapiens are sharing this world with related life forms. And Ike is agreeing while he's just recording in the background. Margot is saying, "This is a wild story. You have such a fantasy mind right now." She says, "Ike, you've been a pretty disturbing enigma since you joined our efforts. I never struck you for being the young man who is into this type of drivel." He says, "Margot, I'm neither a young man by your standards, nor is this drivel." Next you see Dr. Damien setting up his equipment. Ike is in the background trying to find something that can turn myth into reality. He says, "When this object calls to the gods, they will return once more to Earth." So he's basically looking around for some sort of beacon. Around the Pacific, this airplane is flying around and you could see him calling "Mayday, Mayday" to the radio tower. He's losing all control because he does not have any sort of direction because his compasses are always off. The radio tower tells him to use the sun as some guiding post, but he sees something that looks like fireworks in front of him. He cannot tell what's going on. And this is definitely that Jack Kirby crackle. So he ejects. Both the plane and the pilot are swallowed up by this flare-up. And you can see that they're swallowed up by this kind of ship that rises up from underneath the water and pulls them back down. And you see that these are possibly the Divergents. These Divergents wanted to make sure their whole area was clear of any intruders before they proceeded with their plan. You see this gathering of strange beings, a royal court of grotesque and misshapen. One of the deviants is groveling, another is saying, "We're producing more of these unstable creatures every day." The two main characters in this page are both Toad and Crow. Crow seems to be doing the bidding of Toad, and the idea here is for them to destroy this cosmic beacon. So Toad essentially tells Crow, "Go to the Inca Tower, destroy this cosmic beacon." Crow says, "This should be fast, and I should be able to finish this in an hour." Toad replies, "Don't be so complacent. You speak like a hare who sneers at the tortoise. The Eternals may find the beacon before us, so go now." The next scene, this undersea craft speeds from the ruins. Max power. We have to reach the place before the Eternals do. Back into God's chamber. There's another surprise. These great walls part to display a mirror image of deep space. Ikaris' instincts uncovered this telescopic gadget. But the Incas weren't advanced to build this. But the thing is, the Incas don't concern Margot. It's actually Ike. He's not a kook, he's not a prankster, but he's not an ordinary man. Ike replies, "Behold, the universe, the vast home of the gods." Ike has a lot of information on this. This is where the gods live. This is their great reflector. They left this when they departed, but never came back. Dr. Damien says, "Tell us more, but tell us who you really are." His part of the truth must be unfolded here. If you run both of my names together, you get who I really am. I'm actually not Ikaris. I'm Ikaris. I'm not one of your species, yet we are related in many ways. Next, you see Ikaris giving the history of his people as well as the human race. The gods chose to change the destiny of a life form new to the evolutionary chain. An ape was trapped and was given the cosmic chemistry that would father the races to come. The dawn of ape becomes the common ancestry of these three species. The deviant, an ever-changing and destructive failure. Structurally unstable, each new generation of deviant appeared in new and monstrous ways. His lot was constant war. The human, the species bred with a true balance of structure and disposition. Although he was a destroyer, the human was capable of building for peace. His kind was destined to inherit the earth. He belonged to it. The eternal. He was more of a child of the gods than the earth. He reached for the universe. The Eternals bred few in number and were immune to time and death. Like the gods, they lived apart from the other living beings. The deviants took the earth's inner depths, toiled ceaselessly at creating new weapons. The myths of man are filled with terrors inspired by clashes with these deviants. Eternals took the high mountaintops, probed the universe with their minds, and developed powers which surpassed those of Earth's life. They were regarded in awe and fear. Humans. They collided with nature and beasts and fellow man. They subdued the earth and made it its home. Although he still yearns for peace, he lives with the dangers that would destroy all he had created. You flash back to Ikaris, Margot, and the Doctor. Dr. Damien and Margot are transfixed, so that's what they brought to Earth. They came back during the reign of the Incas to check on the results of their experiments. That was one of their many visits. In the background, in the reflector screen, the ship of the gods leaping light years in seconds. It's on its way. The beacon shall guide them. I know I can find it now. You jump down to the Deviant's warcraft. It's going onward. It's almost at the Inca Passage. Crow has knots in his stomach. Is he too late? Did the Eternals already find the beacon and turn it on? The Deviant's craft reaches the Inca Passage and enter the Mammoth Head, and then they rise up. Crow says, "We're in the God's chamber. Advance and search for any sign of Eternals. Remember, they would welcome the gods should they return. Such allies could spell our doom." In the background, you hear a beep, 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 beep. "Sire, listen, we've been undone." That's surely the sound of the cosmic beacon. By the flaming pits, an Eternal has been at work here. But there's still time left to destroy this cosmic beacon. I see the foe. It's Ikaris of the Polar Mountains. The gods secured their secrets with mind blocks, but the Eternals broken through. It's essentially like as if Ikaris has taken a training program which took 1,000 years to be able to find this beacon. Margot says, "Look out, we've got visitors, and they do not look like gods." You see Crow and his crew shooting at them, saying, "Kill the humans, pound Ikaris with high voltage, we can't harm them, but we can keep them busy, then destroy the beacon." Ikaris reacts with lightning speed and blocks all of their attacks. His mind seizes every atom of the air and molds them into an impenetrable shield. He tells the Doctor and Margot that these are the deviants. He says, "One cannot make peace with your species. If you find a reason in war, then I'll say, to battle." He starts shooting eye beams at the deviants, and Crow says, Get his eyes! Use the shroud gun! The shroud gun fires a canister of whirlwind fiber that unfolds and whistles ominous at top speed. At this point, you see the latest deviant technology is essentially this wrap which covers Ikaris so he cannot see and cannot hear. While he's distracted, the deviants try to destroy the beacon. Margot tries to help pull the wrap off of Ikaris, and Dr. Damien starts shooting back at the deviants. At that moment, the entire planet seems to shake from the mighty sound which hasn't been heard since ancient times. A gigantic shadow darkens the plain where the ruins stand. Something which has shattered time and space to find a pebble called Earth now descends with overpowering majesty. The Battle of the Gods chamber is halted as soon as it began. The deviants say, "Oh man, it's too late. They found us." Margot says, "I can't make out what it is." Ikaris replies, "What he says is true. The gods are landing." The witnesses to this event stare at what's happening, unable to absorb what this means to their lives and for the existence on all life on Earth. For the gods tower over time itself. They can only be met with hushed silence. The silence is broken, with the deviant saying, "The deviant shall fight to the last." Doctor replies, "How can you even fight what you haven't even seen?" Ikaris replies, "We shall see them now, and in doing so, learn more about ourselves than we had ever known." It's somehow fitting that the representatives of Earth, 3 dominant races, on hand to meet the master image imprinted on their genes. What do the gods look like? What can they do to this unsuspecting Earth? For the sake of the gods, get the next issue. Read the Celestials from space. Well, what a cliffhanger to the end of Eternals #1. I'm excited to read more of these books. There are about 19 books in this whole series that Jack Kirby wrote and drew himself. I really wonder what they're going to do in the movie compared to these books. This source material has been good thus far. I know with some of Jack Kirby's books, it takes a couple of issues to get into the story itself, but with this, you start off with action right away, and I'm excited to read more. It'll be fun to hear and watch as more information comes out about the Eternals movie, but before that, I'll probably read more about each of these characters in the books themselves. I definitely recommend to take a look at the Marvel Unlimited app and read those books if you don't have them in hand. So for those of you excited about the movie, are you guys planning on reading the books? Do you guys have a favorite character in the Eternals? If so, please write that in the comment section below. If you like this video, please give me that thumbs up button, subscribe, and click that bell icon so you're notified of when I come out with new content. From my comic journey to yours, make it your own. Thanks all. Bye.